on the WHOW streams. We provide farmers and ranchers with timely insights and information aimed at improving their operations. Join me, Chip Flory, weekdays at 10:06 on Central Illinois Ag Station, WHOW.
News time, 8 minutes after 8 o'clock here on this Tuesday morning. Top of the morning from the newsroom of Regional Radio and DeWittDailyNews.com. I'm Seth Lawrence with this expanded 8 o'clock newscast, streaming this morning to Facebook and YouTube, as we have for you here on this Tuesday morning. A proposal to the Clinton Board of Education at last week's monthly meeting has gained traction with the district. Superintendent Drew Goebel indicates a concerned resident approached the Board of Education about fencing in the playground at Clinton Elementary School.
Putting a fence around a portion of the playground in the front of the building, that has been a debate for, again, many years. I was actually... I think I was the assistant principal at the junior high when CES was being built. I've been at Clinton for over 15 years, so I've lived through the building of that school. So that is not a new concept, but we did have during the public participation, we did have a person request or explain the need to fence in a portion of the playground. So we are exploring that. I've worked with our buildings and grounds director. I've worked with the principal and assistant principal on what that would look like. It's being looked at.
According to Goebel, the fence would not encompass the entirety of the playground, but they would seek to secure the west and south sides of the playground from the adjacent neighborhood and Illini Drive.
It would not be a huge fence around everything. It would be possible. There's on the south side of CES, there's almost like a little courtyard area. Mm-hmm. So we would look at making sure that area was fenced in. Mm-hmm. And then I think we'd go all the way up to Illini Drive because there's a lot of traffic. Mm-hmm. And I know that from where the school's at to Illini Drive, there's a lot of space between those areas. However, we have kids that play kickball. There's kids that play around in that area. And so having the fence go all the way out to Illini is something that we're looking at. And then coming back along that sidewalk, and that's where things would not come. I envision not in completely putting a fence around everything because you have the school there.
Goebel calls it a safety issue and feels it would be a good barrier to keep kids safe at CES.
I would say the design that we're looking at would enclose like 95% of that area. And if you'd even consider the school as part of keeping that area in, there would be an area that would not be enclosed. But if we would have staff, it'd be very difficult for somebody to sneak off. So that is something we're looking at because we do have some special need kids but not only special need kids, but we do that will run, and we have the neighborhood to the south, and we don't want kids
getting in there,
running through the neighborhood.
Right.
We don't want anyone running in the traffic. So it's a safety issue. And so that's something that we are definitely looking into.
The district would likely see the fence built in the summer when approved by the Board of Education later this spring. A Central Illinois lawmaker is reintroducing a number of pieces of legislation at the state of Illinois. State Senator Sally Turner indicates one issue she has with the state's handling of wind and solar is what she calls archaic and wants the state to make its first update in nearly 20 years.
Even though it's the same legislative session, the 104th that we've been in, we have the opportunity to reintroduce bills that we've already filed, just so that it gets put on the radar better, if you will. So I've only refiled a few of them, but one of them, and I think I briefly talked to you about before, was, in our area, and especially in that DeWitt McLean area, we have tons of solar and wind. It's just never stopping. And the way that the Department of Revenue values the solar and wind is archaic. It's been the same way back from the were originally evaluated in 2006. So what I did was I increased the base value. They could still do the same calculation that they put on it, like the CPI, and there's some other calculations of what they pay in tax. But this increases the base value, meaning those individual companies that own those, not those people that leased it out or farm it or anything like that, those have to pay additional dollars in tax, which will help relieve some of the burden to our taxpayers that are just regular real estate tax-paying people like our farmers and our individuals.
The Lincoln Republican has long been a proponent of tougher laws around fentanyl. She will continue to push for tougher penalties against people bringing drugs to Illinois laced with fentanyl.
All the bills that I have proposed were done at the beginning of the 104th. So they're all still there. But I have a few more that, of course, affect us that I just want to keep pushing out there. Since I started, Seth, 5 years ago, which on the 21st, it'll be 5 years, I keep pushing tougher laws for fentanyl. I don't understand why on earth we can't have additional laws that are for people, additional laws that are for people that are either distributing or lacing fentanyl onto some of these drugs that are killing all our people. And, we see it happen all the time, but it seems like it's prohibitive right now. No one wants to have any kind of additional law that could cause a person to be incarcerated for any longer period of time. That's the policy that's coming out of Springfield right now.
Senator Turner is optimistic her efforts towards curbing the instances of people being exposed to and sometimes succumb to exposure to fentanyl will move forward, given that it is an election year and the growing unpopularity of the safety legislation.
I was here yesterday in relation to that, to some of the crime bill that had passed a while back, that maybe they're going to take a harder look at that because they see that there's some error. It's an election year. It could be something that some of their constituents are saying, hey, we really want to see this. And that might be helpful because people are saying, this doesn't work. This is not working. This failed safety act or unsafe act, if you will. So I think maybe we might see some of that, which I'm very hopeful to hear. But time will tell, of course. But again, it's election year, and you never know what's going to happen in election year.
The renewable energy efforts for conservative lawmakers continue as Illinoisans battle record high power bills. Meanwhile, the state continues to supersede local control around the development of renewable energy. The Master Gardener program provides local experts for all your gardening inquiries. Terry Miller Casey is the Extension Director for the University of Illinois Extension in Logan, Menard, and Sangamon counties. And if you have a passion for backyard agriculture or helping your community, now is the perfect time to get signed up to become a Master Gardener. She notes it's Tuesday from February 3rd to April 14th from 9 until noon.
Master Gardener training will be picking up again. It runs February 3rd through April 14th, and it goes from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. once a week on Tuesdays. And so it's a very comprehensive program. If someone's not familiar with the Master Gardeners, it's just celebrated its 50th anniversary. It's throughout the state. And what it is that Master Gardener volunteers go through this 12-week, 12-session training process where they learn about botany, annuals, perennials, soils, insects, pests, wood ornaments, vegetables, fruits, turf, pest management, wildlife, anything you could think of garden related. And they get kind of a 12-week intensive that really helps them, up their gardening game and to even learn more. And so at the end of that period, some people choose to go through the trainings just because they want to be a better gardener or they want to know more about all of those topics. Others want to continue after that in a volunteer capacity where they help other folks in the community have better gardens.
You can learn more about these trainings and more information about the Master Gardener program by visiting extension.illinois.edu/mg. You can use anytime from your computer or mobile device at DeWittDailyNews.com. A look at sports comes up next.
Hello, I'm Dr. Seuster with Covenant Animal Clinic. We're thrilled to sponsor the Adopt a Pet page on DeWittDailyNews.com. Simply look for the icon beside the masthead and you'll discover all the lovable cats and dogs at DeWitt County Animal Shelter, hoping to find their perfect family. While you're there, you can even complete an adoption application right online. Please help us share the message about these wonderful animals who are ready for a loving home. After all, a happy pet is a healthy pet.
Wellness starts with prevention. Book your annual appointment online today with SIU Center for Family Medicine in Lincoln by clicking their icon on DeWittDailyNews.com.
DeWittDailyNews.com is the area's leading local news source 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Get the latest local news, obituaries, police blotter, weather forecast, and more with no paywall. Head to DeWittDailyNews.com to get the local information you need to know.
This is Seth Lawrence, News and Program Director for WHOW and WEZC. We take pride in being Clinton and Central Illinois' local radio stations each and every day, 7 days a week. What does local news mean? Here's a sample.
Great news. They've done a lot of work in that building. They still have some work to do, but things are really moving along. They're actually going to start their first production line next week.
Lincoln and Douglas, the most recent scores, they're below the commendable rating. And as a result, there is going to have to be some work that's going to be done.
So yeah, double check with your landowners. If you're hunting on somebody else's property, double check, just verify that you're good to go.
You hear the local people that make the news every day, 7 days a week on the big 1520 AM, 92.3 FM, and 106.5 FM WHOW, and on your easy choice for soft hits, 95.9 FM WEZC.
From the Hart Media Group Sports Desk, IL Sports Wire, and DeWittDailyNews.com, I'm Ben Hubbard with this local sports report. Luka Doncic had 46 points, 11 assists, and 7 rebounds, and the LA Lakers cooled off the Chicago Bulls with a 129-118 victory on Monday night. LeBron James scored 20 of his 24 points in the first half as Los Angeles improved to 3-1 on an 8-game trip. Rui Hachimura added 23 points on 9 for 11 shooting. The Lakers were swept by Chicago in their 2-game series last season, including a wild 119-117 loss at the United Center on Josh Giddey's half-court shot at the buzzer. Kobe White scored 23 points for Chicago on Monday night, and Ayo Dosunmu had 20. The Bulls had won 4 in a row and 5 of 6 overall. Chicago went 18 for 49 from three-point range. It has made at least 17 three-pointers in its last 5 games. Los Angeles led by as many as 20 points, but Chicago closed to 81-80 on Nikola Vucevic's 2 foul shots with 6 minutes and 42 seconds left in the third quarter. But Marcus Smart responded with a 3-point play for the Lakers. Doncic then made 2 free throws, and Hachimura connected from deep to make it 89-80 with 4 minutes and 38 seconds left. Doncic made a 3 and another foul shot to lift Los Angeles to a 104-89 lead going into the fourth. Doncic scored 20 points in the third on 6 for 9 shooting. The Lakers shot 56%, 46 for 82 from the field, including a 16 for 33 performance from three-point range. The Bulls had 6 players score in double figures. Vucevic had 18 points and 11 rebounds, and Giddey finished with 19 points. Los Angeles moved in front with a 25-6 run that started late in the first quarter and carried over into the second. James's fast break jam made it 51-37 with 7 minutes and 19 seconds left. The Bulls closed the first half with a 7-0 spurt, trimming the Lakers' lead to 69-56. Doncic had 17 points and 8 assists in the first half. The Lakers are at Cleveland on Wednesday night, while the Bulls are at Indiana on Wednesday night. The Chicago White Sox added Seranthony Domínguez to their bullpen on Friday, agreeing to a $20 million 2-year contract with the right-hander. Domínguez, who is 31 years old, played for Baltimore and Toronto last year, going 4 for 4 with a 3.16 ERA and 2 saves in 67 games. He was traded to the Blue Jays on July 29th. Chicago had some additional payroll flexibility after trading center left fielder Luis Robert Jr. to the New York Mets on Tuesday night. Domínguez will likely close games with his new team. The rebuilding White Sox finished last in the AL Central last year with a 60-102 record, a 19-game improvement from the previous season. They signed Japanese slugger Munetaka Murakami to a $34 million two-year contract in December, and speedy infielder Luis Angel Acuna came over in the Robert trade. The White Sox also have a promising group of young position players that includes Colson Montgomery, Kyle Teal, and Chase Madraw. Domínguez made his major league debut with Philadelphia in 2023. He is 23-23 with a 3.50 ERA and 40 saves in 322 career games. He also has 360 strikeouts in 306 innings. Domínguez pitched in 12 postseason games in 2025, helping Toronto reach the World Series. He went 2-0 with a 3.18 ERA. The Chicago Cubs have signed outfielder Dylan Carlson to a minor league deal that includes an invitation to big league camp for spring training. The Cubs announced the contract on Monday. The 27-year-old Carlson is expected to compete for a backup job. He batted .203 with 6 homers and 20 RBIs in 83 games with Baltimore last season. Carlson was selected by St. Louis in the first round of the 2016 amateur draft. He hit .239 with 34 homers and 161 RBIs in 447 games with the Cardinals before he was traded to the Tampa Bay Rays in July 2024. The Chicago Bears thrilled the city in Coach Ben Johnson's first season as head coach. They pulled out one comeback win after another on their way to capturing the NFC North Championship after finishing last in the division. They advanced in the playoffs for the first time in 15 years by rallying to beat Green Bay in a wild-card game before losing in an overtime thriller to Matthew Stafford and the LA Rams in the divisional round. The Bears are starting from a stronger position with Caleb Williams on his way to becoming a franchise quarterback after setting the team's single-season passing record in his second year, and Johnson looking like the coach to lead him to that next level. It's a big change from last January when the team was reeling after finishing 5-12 and firing former coach Matt Eberflus along the way. Now, for the first time since he was hired in 2022, general manager Ryan Poles heads into the offseason with a contender rather than a rebuilding project. The Bears hit big with tight end Colston Loveland in the first round, receiver Luther Burden in the second, and running back Kyle Monungai in the seventh. Loveland, the number 10 pick out of Michigan, led Chicago in receptions with 58 and yards with 713, and tied for the team lead in touchdown catches with 6. The speedy and elusive Burden had 652 yards receiving, and the hard-running Monungai rushed for 783 yards as part of a productive tandem with DeAndre Swift. The Bears have some decisions to make at safety, with All-Pro Kevin Byard and Jaquan Brisker set to become free agents. The 32-year-old Byard, who led the league with 7 interceptions, said this week he'd like to return, and Poles would like to have him back. Poles also acknowledged the need to improve the line on a defense that ranked 29th overall and 27th against the run. Chicago tied for 22nd in sacks with 35, but the Bears appeared to have the two most important pieces in place, the coach and the quarterback. In scores from around the NBA last night, the Atlanta Hawks took down the Indiana Pacers 132-116, while the Charlotte Hornets beat the Philadelphia 76ers 130-93. The Cleveland Cavaliers beat the Orlando Magic 114-98. And the Memphis Grizzlies fell to the Houston Rockets 108-99. The Boston Celtics beat the Portland Trailblazers 102-94, and the Minnesota Timberwolves took down the Golden State Warriors 108-83. In the NHL last night, the New York Rangers beat the Boston Bruins 4-3. The New York Islanders shut out the Philadelphia Flyers 4-0. The Tampa Bay Lightning shut out the Utah Mammoth 2-0. The Edmonton Oilers beat the Anaheim Ducks 7-4, while the LA Kings game versus the Columbus Blue Jackets was postponed. In the NCAA basketball action last night, number 4 Duke beat number 20 Louisville 83-52, and first-ranked Arizona beat number 13 BYU 86-83. Get highlights of your local high school program by finding IL SportsWire on your preferred social media platforms, and get local sports anytime at DeWittDailyNews.com.